So you've tried lots of different things. So as you've come back,
Yeah, I don't know if we covered it all.
I know. Like,
did you mention author? That he's.
I did. Yeah, that's where I wanted to go. So we kind of briefly got on this topic earlier about how people have, let's say, thoughts and ideas about doing things for a long time. You guys, you have actually done some of these things that people have thought about or dreamt about. One of them being buying vacation rentals.
Yeah.
One of them writing books.
I'm in the thought about it a long time camp.
I'm in that same.
Welcome, boys. The water's fine.
Yeah. That we've thought about it too, buying vacation rental properties or writing a book. But you've actually done some of these things. And, I'm sure some of the people that are listening to this or watching this would have these same questions. Like, how do you take this idea from this concept in your head to now all of a sudden, like in your case, you've got 2 different vacation rentals now in 2 different majorly different drastic parts of the country.
Yeah.
So one in Arizona and one in Oregon. So how are you managing all of this and managing these properties in multiple states?
So on one level, I think you look at, this is kind of my joke about how on earth are you going to introduce me? Because you look at all these and you go,
I tried.
What is he? Like, is he a pastor? Is he an entrepreneur? Is he like content creator? Like what is this? You know what I mean? Stay at home dad? Like, and depending on which role you look at, like I could be a little bit of all of it. But I think one of the things that we realized is I think a lot of people go into their job as a way of, I'm going to try to get meaning out of this, and I'm going to try to pay all my bills and financially do what I want to do. And sometimes, or maybe even most of the time, it works like that for people, where they find a job they love, they find meaning in it, everything's great. What I realized, when I was as the lead pastor of, the only reason why I would continue in this role is because I would take care of my family doing this. I didn't want to do it anymore. And as I saw, what it would require of me moving forward, it's like, I don't want to be that guy. So then I took a step back and it's like, okay, do I go back into ministry because I've got to provide for my family? Or do I figure out a way to provide for my family, do what we need to do, but then spend time on things I'm passionate about? So that's where I think the conversation gets interesting about like passive income. And that, depending on which circle you're in, either is the special sauce, or it's like, it's the evil of all evils, right? It's not real. I think it's worth talking about going, how do you financially take care of what you need to take care of, and figure out how to do things you're passionate about. If you can do those in both, great. If you can't, you got to figure some things out. For us, what we realized is my wife's in real estate. She's an unbelievable realtor. Yes, I am very biased. I also get to see the product that she's bringing home, the fruits.
Yes.
It's a lot of fruit. She does really, really good. And she has, carried our family in this season, which has allowed us to do some of these things. And so we've realized, like, long term, what are ways that we can leverage some of our strengths and put us in a financial spot where then we can do things like Communion Wine Co., the podcast, that I'm not bringing income off of those things. So we realized short-term rentals, it's like, I can manage stuff. I can build, all the systems on the back end. I can interact with people like that. And let me tell you, compared to running a church, running a short-term rental business is a walk in the park. I mean, like the easiest thing ever, right? Like, I don't get all the things I had to deal with. Don't deal with it running this. So we ended up buying our first in Oregon, Oregon wine country, a place we fell in love with. And we're like, look, that's a destination for a lot of people. It's also somewhere we want to be. So let's find some of these houses in places where we want to be. And so now, in addition to that being an income asset for us, our family spends multiple months out of the year in Oregon wine country, and it doesn't cost us a thing to go and do that because other people pay for that. So that's been incredible. And then we actually bought that a year ago at the end of the summer, and then took us a few months. The city we're in has a lot of complicated hoops you have to jump through. In January was when we were able to launch it. So that's coming on a full year of launching that. And then this year, again, we found another rental in Pine that was already a rental. And we realized, hey, we could actually, I think, run that better than they had been running it. And so there saw some opportunity there, already had some of the work done to it. So we bought that, and that one has just taken off the last couple of months.
That's great.
And we just spent last weekend as a family in that home. And again, other people are paying for that. So it's allowed us meaningful things as a family. We get to go travel, we get to get out of the routine.
That's awesome.
it makes it very
closing me, Jeremy.
Yeah.
and Jay, in 3 easy steps, I can.
I feel like I'm like listening to the Carlson sheets.
You said you were going to write a book on this, right?
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm learning and realizing. It's not easy, and I don't want to make it sound like, well, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
You have to have resources. You have to have. There's a number of things you got to have in place. But it's one of those, and I think a lot of people entertain the thought, and then it's just like, that's probably too scary or too unknown,
or it's a lot. Yeah.
Or it is a lot. And again, the setup is the hardest part, because when you go from, you got to buy a property, you got to get there, you got to figure out all, and then all the licensing, all the setup, that part is hard, especially the first time you're doing it. But I'll tell you what, creating the second one, much easier than the first, because I already was like, I've figured this out.
The whole system in place.
And then now it's like number 3, it's going to be great. Like, I'm just getting better and better at it. And so I am going to figure out ways, little forecasting of figuring out how to help people navigate that up. If this is something you're thinking about, what are the preemptive steps you take to go, okay, how do I turn that from, I would like, someday, to, hey, we can make this a legitimate option that we could explore. And I think I'm going to help, trying to walk people through some of the things that we've walked through, because it's been life-giving for our family. And so now that's what I spend my time on. That is the biggest income, producing part, but it's fun. And here's what I'll tell you is the surprising fun part that most people don't talk about. So, it's all automated to the whole system, everything. So the only things I'm really engaging with people in is if there's a problem or if they have a question that's not already covered. But here's what
are there a lot of problems?
No.
So you're managing. You don't have a management company.
So I do it.
Yeah.
I originally was going to hire, and I had another friend of mine who has done this, and he said, dude, you've got to do it yourself. And literally swayed me. And it was one of the greatest things. And he took me under his wing and taught me a bunch. He's also a realtor.
Okay.
He had figured this out, and it was just incredible. And so he's the one that was like, no, you got to run it. So I run it myself. But here's what I've realized. All these interactions with people, they're planning out their vacation. They're in a great mood.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like people like planning a Disney trip. Like, you're usually in a good mood when you're thinking about that. Now, again, there's logistics of like, this is expensive and all that. But like, most of the time they're like, hey, what's the coffee situation? We're trying to bring the right beans, it's like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, you're going to have fun.
This is great.
And one of the things that we offer at both of our rentals is we give them a voucher of how they can go get a local bottle of wine down the street we have two different places. So then I get the receipts of whenever someone has cashed that in, and it like literally brings me joy every time. Cause I'm like, oh, they just went and got a bottle of wine. They're having a great day.
So cool.
And it's like vicariously, I get to like celebrate these people who are like, they're having a great time. And most interactions like, oh, we love this. This is incredible. This is so fun. And it's like, you get to vicariously live through that.
How do you deal with like, okay, something broke at the property, and you're trying to manage that from a distance? How do you do that?
You have to have incredible teams. So this is a huge part of the system.
So this is like boots on the ground.
Yep. And you have to have the right people. And we spend a lot of time vetting, interviewing, figuring out,
So are these other agents then in the area that can help?
So it depends. So we have quite the team in Oregon. It's run by a realtor who kind of wasn't like, I don't think like a full-time realtor. She was doing a few things. And so she was cleaning houses kind of like as one of the side things. She doesn't even clean the house anymore. She started cleaning. Now she has other people that she hires out to do it, but she just runs it for us. And she's my point person, and she's incredible. Okay. And so if something breaks or something, she's the person solving it with me. And so you have to have people on the ground for sure, because unless it's down the street from you, you can't solve that problem quickly.
Right.
So you have to rely on.
So this has always been one of the things in my mind that I've always been kind of apprehensive about owning any kind of an out of state or out of area, rental property.
Yeah. But, and again, I don't want to minimize it. It is a challenge you have to solve. You have to figure it out, but it can be done. And once you get the right team, it's incredible. And so again, like one of the worst problems. This is real talk.
Okay.
One of the worst problems we've had recently is a cleaner. We had a 1 day in between 2 bookings. So they cleaned it, and then they went back the next day just to like bring some things to the house. And our cleaner noticed that the heat was off, like wasn't working. And it was like 50 degrees. No, it was like 48 degrees in the house.
Okay.
And this is Oregon in the winter.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no, this is bad. So she contacts the point person literally is texting me. I'm at Disneyland. Okay. Having the time of my life. Our whole family's there. And I get this text. The house is at 48 degrees. But here's what she texts with it. I'm on the phone. I'm going to get someone here as soon as I can. Just want to let you know. Now, I had a check-in. By the time she brought me in, I think I had a check-in later that day. So it's like the next day she's working on this. And so I'm literally thinking, okay, this could be bad, right? But we're going to solve this. So what I do is I just communicate to the guest like, hey, FYI, our cleaner popped in today, noticed, something's up with the heat. Just want to make you aware of it. Might be a little chilly when you get there. But I want to just assure you, we're on it. We're going to get someone over there as soon as we can. We're going to solve this for you. Just want to give you a heads up. Okay. So I'm going to over communicate because I don't want that guest popping in going, what on earth? Right. Yeah. So they know before they even check in, there's a problem. They're solving the problem. Yep. The lady on the ground, the realtor that's managing this, she ends up calling multiple people, find someone who's down the street. That person comes out, figures it out, fixes it before they even get there. Problem solved.
Perfect.
Like she was incredible.
That's amazing.
And so we literally like send her a gift basket. Thank you so much for your help. But like, that's the worst that I've had in a while. And so again, things do go wrong. If you have a team there who's competent and they're able to like, hey, we can solve this. Most of it's not insurmountable. And most of the time guests are pretty accommodating of like, hey, we understand it's a house and
stuff's going to happen. Things are going to break, whatever.
And most of the time how you solve the problem speaks more to them than the problem itself. Like oftentimes I win people over when something goes wrong. Like one time we ran out of coffee filters. Now we didn't do anything wrong. We had coffee filters in the house. They just ran out they didn't stock enough. So the guest literally just reached out and said, hey, FYI, there's no more coffee filters. Now, as a host, I can figure out, all right, what's my reaction there? I'm like, I'm going to win this person over with this conversation. So I get on Instacart. I get a whole like 100 or something of coffee filters sent rush delivery to my house. It's like $40-$50 or something to do all that. What do you think? Like, that's expensive coffee filters. It's not about the coffee filters. It's about this guest. I'm going to wow this
how
guest.
They feel.
And literally within the hour, they get a notification like on the door, there's coffee filters and there's like this 100-pack of coffee filters. And literally the guest is like, I can't believe you got me coffee filters like 20 minutes later. And in the review, I get a 5-star review. In the review, she talks about this problem. We ran out of coffee filters. I let the owner know. 20 minutes later, 100 coffee filters on the front door. Like it wowed her. Yeah. And so again, even those, if you have the right mentality, is a chance to make a customer for life.